Alright, this is take 2. Hopefully this time it works. Let me get some invites out, and then we'll go from there. So, basically, as soon as I get Jonah in here, it's in here, then we'll go from there.
All right. Now we're working.
There we go. Man, always technical difficulties. This is why you run tests before shit goes wrong.
Hey, there's a first time for everything. So,
Yeah, I mean, hey, what do we have? 4 hours to screw around with? No, we're only going to go for like an hour and a half, probably. Not even that. Should I ramble on?
yeah.
We might go for 3.5. So, basically, this is not my first time doing anything like this. This is probably like my 20th trying to get some sort of podcast going. So, this is the first time I've actually done it with somebody else. Jonah, introduce yourself.
So, hi, my name is Jonah Werbelow. I run Jonah W Photography. I am a IndyCar enthusiast and photographer, and I met Brandon through our shared love for RC cars as well, and been on a couple adventures in IndyCar with him this year, and
Actually met him at a Chip Ganassi scouting at a UNOH about a year and a half ago. They were looking for employees. I went there to see if they needed media stuff. Obviously, he has former experience. Kind of go into a little bit of detail about that.
So my experience with Chip Ganassi, they have an internship program. Currently it is way more biased towards the Women in Motorsport internship that they put on with PNC Bank at Scott Dixon. But before that kicked off, there were other internship opportunities available, and I happened to make enough networking connections and to find out about it, and then I was later accepted in as an intern, and I was back in 2021, and then I went off to University of Northwestern Ohio where I met Brandon during our shared time together there. And then as time went on, I got into photography and freelancing in IndyCar.
Yeah, and then, yeah, when we met him, basically, me and you were the only people that were actually able to answer the questions that, what was her name? It was some PR girl. Was it a PR girl? Or
Oh,
was it a
yes,
scout
it
that worked
was.
with her?
She was actually the president of HR. I forget her name, but I know I've emailed back and forth with her countless times.
Right.
But she was asking questions, and I remember distinctly that you got the last one, I think,
I
and then
rose
I
my
got the
hand
first
all
three.
3 times. I rose my hand all 3 times, though. The first question I want to say was
I want to
shit.
say it was pole record.
I think it was like pole record. This is before McLaughlin laid down his time last year, so this would have been Dixon in 23. And then I want to say, no, it would have been Pelot. I think it would have been Pelot.
Yeah,
Pelot in
it
the
was
pole.
Pelot. It was
Pelot on
Pelot's
the
pole
pole.
lap at like what 2:33 something.
It was like
And
2:33.9, I believe. See, this is
yeah,
the time where I would throw up stats on my computer, and I'd be like, no, it was this number. But see, we didn't originally think we were going to do like intros, but hey, we're trying to kill time, so it's 9:33. There's only 2 people in here, and I think one of them's you, so it's like shit. So
yeah, it
basically,
is. It was good.
for those who don't know who I am, my name is Brandon Rutter. I've been doing IndyCar Central since the last 2 races of the 2021 IndyCar season. I've been a big IndyCar fan since about 2009 when I was 4. That's when I got first introduced to the sport. Been to every Indy 500 since I think 3 or 4 of them. Obviously, I didn't go last year. My dumb ass decided going to a NASCAR race was better. It was a good weekend. I enjoyed the hell out of it, but the 500 I missed was not worth the NASCAR race I went to. But
I
obviously, I
will
didn't go
admit,
in
yes.
2020. I didn't go in 2020. I tried my damnedest. Ended up going to Indiana State Fairgrounds, watch Kyle Larson kick ass at a Silver Crown race. And then 2019, I didn't get to go. Actually, the race reactions are on my YouTube channel, Brandon Thunder Productions. I did that back in 2019. 2017, I wasn't able to go, unfortunately, which that was a hell of a race, too, with Sato and Castroneves and all the engine failures.
Wasn't 17 the year that Alonso was there?
Yeah, Alonso. I did get them. I did run by Alonso when I went, because in 2019 I didn't go to the 500. I went to Bump Day, though, because on Saturday we sat down and watched qualifying. And when they saw that Alonso was going to be fighting for the last row shootout, I was like, no, we can't miss this. We got to be able to go, and we got to be able to see Alonso. Because if he misses it and I'm not there, I don't know if he'll ever go back again. Obviously, he went back in 2020, but no one was able to go to that. I actually got to talk to Fernando a couple of times. Everyone thinks, oh, he's an F1 driver. He's going to be such a horse's ass. He was really respectable. I'm actually kind of surprised by that. But he was really down to earth. Actually, I think he enjoyed the fanfare because in F1, you obviously don't get the fan attention. It's like armed guards around all the team pens and stuff. IndyCar, it's like shit. You could walk in with a whole side pod and you could ask the whole team to sign it, and they probably would. But I have done some IndyCar experience, obviously. For those who don't know, I interned with Meyer Shank for about a year, did some media stuff with them, and then walked away from that to go to college, get some marketing stuff under my belt. And then this year we started doing some media stuff, but we'll get into that later. So this is essentially what I want to do today. We have 5 really main big bullet points that I want to go over. My hideous predictions from the beginning of the year is that's... I
mean, hey, you looked at things with a very, how do I put it, rose-tinted glasses.
Hindsight is 20/20, but... So I really want to get into that. Fucking hell. And then points recap, we're going to look at that, obviously. And then, hey, we're finally getting an audience joining. Fuck. Obviously, the schedule just dropped today. Big talking point. That's probably going to take up a huge chunk of the time. Silly season. Last week, if you weren't around last week, holy crap. As soon as the season ended on Tuesday, man.
Oh, that was the biggest rush of silly season, and we'll get into that, but
the terrible Tuesday I've ever heard of it. It's terrible for some people, amazing for a lot of others too. And then we're going to go into season recap. That's going to be a bit of a personal one because obviously me and you went to just a tad under half of the season, so we got a lot to talk about.
I don't think it was that much, but it was definitely quite a few weekends.
It was 7 weekends. That's why I said tad under half because, yeah. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 weekends we went to. But so I want to get into predictions. So I did 10 plus a bonus. I'll go over the bonus one because that's probably the only one that I said that looking back on it was like, okay, that could have went either way. I said Oliver Weldon was going to win the USF Juniors title. At first, he wasn't even confirmed to race in it. I just assumed he was going to progress from Skip Barber up to USF Juniors. Started the second race of the season out at NOLA. I think he finished 3rd in the points. He did all right. Didn't do as well as Sebastian did in 24, but still good season to build on for next year. Then I'm going to probably not go in order. I'm going to go in the way I feel like made closer, and then the ones that really, really can hit bad, I'm going to go on to those last. Robert Schwartzman, I predicted was going to win Rookie of the Year. He did win the Indy 500 Rookie of the Year, but to be fair, winning a pole, leading the first 10 laps, how could you not? So, but
I mean, absolutely.
He didn't win Rookie of the Year, though. I was a bad blocking penalty away from that. Foster ended up getting him at the end of the race at Nashville, but his run
I mean, for consistency, though, Brandon, you got to think.
His run at Indy was legendary, if I had to say.
It always will be, and I'll cut in here and say I remember standing there in the pit lane for that and watching the Prema guys, and I've got pictures of it buried within my files as a photographer, of the Prema guys, absolutely on the edge of, you can't describe the emotions without seeing pictures because they were so, pent up because this is a team that came out of nowhere. They've had a lot of success in Europe, but they've never been to IndyCar, let
Right.
alone
Been in
taken
Europe
on
for
the
80
Goliath
years.
that is the Indy 500.
Right.
And
And
so,
going on to that point, number 3, I said Prema was going to win a race. Looking onto the start of the year, you wouldn't have thought I'd been crazy. They have 40 years of European championship experience. You would have thought this would have came like that. I mean, to be fair, they had brand new everything, brand new shops, brand new engines, brand new building, brand new cars, brand new chassis, new everybody. A lot of people are experienced people. You obviously knew someone with Ganassi that works there. I'm not going to mention names, obviously, due to
yeah.
confidentiality things, but people from
Yeah, but it's
former
like,
championship teams were there, and he's like, they had all the resources, and then you
yeah,
think about the money issues that came about at Indy, and you're like,
I
man, they
think
really
what
put their
it
money in the wrong
was,
spots.
yeah, I think that's what it was, honestly, with Prema. I think you had good leadership. I know that I believe it changed over, but I know at the beginning of the season when I was looking into personnel lists, the team manager or the team principal for that team was, I think, somebody who came out of a lead position at like Andretti. So it's not like they were putting bad people in there. I really do think it could have been one of those things where they just got off on the wrong foot. But I do wonder how they're going to do this coming year. I don't think that there's any merit to some whispers that have been going on about, oh, Prema's leaving, Prema's unstable. Pruitt said something about that the other day, like they're going to stay. And I firmly believe that. I don't think any team should actually go ahead and sit there and take that first year with any sort of weight behind it, because you are dealing with a different beast entirely. Yeah, you're dealing with a different beast here with IndyCar, and what IndyCar is. You've got dynasty teams, Ganassi, Penske. We don't really tend to speak of them, I feel like, in the same sentence sometimes, but Foyt's been around forever.
Foyt's been
And
around as the current generation of the team. It's been around since the mid '60s when Gilmore Foyt was the first originated. They became Gilmore Foyt, and then obviously the Foyt that is today was like mid '80s, late '80s, I think, is when the Gilmore name got dropped. And obviously, like Dale Coyne, they've been around since the late, I want to say the late '80s or the early '90s. They've been consistently on the grid. They've had their main thing I've always noticed with Coyne is they are a team that is as good as the driver in that car.
I want to say yes and no.
When Grosjean was in that car, he was contending for wins, not week in and week out, but he had a lot of good runs. My favorite one is the second Indy road course race in 2022 or 21. Had a good shot at winning it. The Laguna Seca drive he had in 21 where he was body slamming Jimmy Johnson through the corkscrew at Laguna was like incredible driving. And then when he goes to Andretti, I just figured it just got into his head. And then you talk about like last year, that was the worst season Coyne has ever had ever. And then this year, night and day difference.
Refresh my mind. What was their driver lineup for last year?
It was bunch of different guys. You had Hunter McElroy making his first start. Tristan Vautier came back for the first time in a while. Lucas.
That's what I thought. The thing is,
I forgot his name. There was a Lucas. I think it was a Lucas.
What you could
Jack Harvey did a lot of starts as well, and then at Indy.
Well, the thing is, what you got to understand,
and then at Indy had Catherine Legg, obviously.
Yeah, is with IndyCar in any racing. Okay,
Nolan Siegel did a lot too.
Is you've got to have this mesh between your driver and your team. So I think one of the reasons that Coyne may have had so much of a lackluster season is you're rotating over. You've got, what was it, 2020? You had Palou in the car. I don't remember seeing much about that, but because I wasn't really, I'll admit, I wasn't paying much attention to IndyCar before I joined Ganassi. And ever since then,
was kind of when I came back into it because I had gotten out of it for a while after one of my favorite drivers growing up was Justin Wilson. He had a tragic accident at Pocono back in 2015. I was there for that, unfortunately. Kind of got me out of the sport for a while. NASCAR was really on my priority, especially in the COVID years, because the COVID season, it seems like once they had that 3-month break, they had a race. I shit you not. It was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. They'd have some sort of NASCAR event on. So that's all you would see. It flooded you, and it was just all you got to watch. And the IndyCar, obviously, I watched the Indy 500. Long Beach got delayed, but it was kind of just a dud year. And then I can actually remember 21 was when I was like, okay, so my favorite NASCAR driver growing up, I'm not afraid to admit that, was Jimmy Johnson. So when Jimmy gets to IndyCar, I'm like, oh, that'll be cool to see. Not as a guy to root for, but it's like, it's really cool to see people crossbreed into different forms of racing, whether it be people coming over here, people going over to Europe, people coming from IndyCar to NASCAR, NASCAR to IndyCar, IMSA drivers, guy in NASCAR, sprint car guys, for example, like Larson when he did the 500. Last year was amazing. This year, I mean, shit right there. But going into that, looking at 21, I was just like, who is this Pelot guy? He just won the title out of nowhere. I at first thought it was his rookie year, and then they say, no, he's a sophomore. And I looked at 2020, I was like, he drove for Coin?
I think that Pelot, and we'll get into the Pelot dominance.
For casual viewers, he just went really under the radar. And he had a great year. He had a couple podiums, top 5 and top 10, a couple fastest laps. Did really well. I don't believe he got Rookie of the Year. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think he did.
I don't recall. I do know, though, that even back in my time at Ganassi, I never, like, as a member of a team, you're only talking to drivers.
Right.
But I had talked to some people there about Alex, and I'm, like, kind of wondering what he was like, because at this point he's new to Ganassi, and I was told that he spent most of his time around the shop, and that he started, and this gets back into what I said about Coin, because when Alex was at Ganassi that first year, he'd come into the fab shop and he'd mess with the guys who were welding, and he spent a lot of time around Scott Dixon, and I think that may have made a big difference, because he has this synergy, and I think that him and Barry Wanzer and Chris Simmons are gearing up for a generational run here. I know that he was supposedly linked to go to Red Bull, which that has been denied. And if I were Alex,
I am going to stop you there, because we are, I think, 25 minutes into this, and we've only got 3 predictions off the line. Because they say, that's what I'm saying. This is when it's good when you have another person. You can just make it last longer.
All right. We'll talk about Pelot and Pelot dominance here.
Believe me, we have a lot of Pelot discussions to talk about tonight.
This episode is going to be full of Pelot.
Here is a prediction. This is number 2 on the list. So the Prema winning a race was number 3. Obviously, Prema winning a race didn't seem like a bad idea at first, and then you look on hindsight, it's like they might be able to at some point. I just feel like rookie teams winning races it's almost never going to happen. But going on from there, number 2, I said Santino Ferrucci was going to win a race. Especially last year on the ovals, he had some really good runs. And there was a couple of times on road courses he had some decent runs too, so it wasn't out of the realm of possibility. With 5 ovals on the year that he might have done it. Hell, the runs he's had at Indy the past 3 or 4 years have been great. What is his top 10 ratio? Is it perfect? I don't think he's ever not finished in the top 10 of the Indy 500. And he's ran, I think, every year since 2019. Because 2019 he ran for, I want to say it was Vassar Sullivan McCoy in the 18 car. Then 2020, I can't for the life of me remember. And then, obviously, the past 3 years it's been the Foyt. But
well, I want to say, where did he qualify? Didn't he qualify like 3rd this year, or was that last year?
Shoot, I think it might have.
No, it was like this year was Sato, Pato,
and Schwartzman.
Yeah, Schwartzman.
Yeah, because last year it was the 3 Penske's on the front row. But going on to that, Ferrucci winning a race this year, I figured it was going to be on an oval. I thought it was going to be one of the Iowa races. I had him winning. If you follow me on IndyCar Central, you know me and all the IndyCar content creators like James Coker, All about Indy, Upshift official. We host prediction videos. Obviously, I thought Ferrucci was going to win one of those Iowa races. Last year, he had a great run. Connor Daly as well. I really didn't think Connor could have put it all together this year, especially with Juncos. It's so unpredictable. But when you have a spec car, it really just depends on driver talent at specific venues. Connor Daly, I'm sorry, is not a great road course racer. He can handle himself on them, but he's never going to get to that point where I feel like he can contend with Palou for wins. On ovals, I shit you not, this dude is a whole nother breed. If he has a Ganassi car or a Penske car under his ass, he won't lose an oval race. I'm sorry. This year at Indy especially, he had a great run at the oval until his tire fucking fell apart. It was his right rear tire not shredded, but the fall off was just so much. For some reason, it was a lot more aggressive this year, and you'd think they'd have more grip because of the temp being a lot cooler too. But the tire wear just was
you also got to factor in the hybrid, because that hybrid is adding. It wasn't just that. It was like I think they said it was 100 pounds. But when you take into effect how tightly packaged the car is and just where that weight is, that weight shift, I heard the number was something. It was a single-digit percent, but when you get into those cars, if it was even like a 7 or 5 to 7%, 5 to 7% in a car that finely tuned is a lot. And I think that we'll lead into that later. I think that had an impact on some other things this year at the Indy 500, but we'll get into that later.
Right. Going on from that, so far, number 1, number 2, number 3, I got wrong. And number 5, I got wrong. So that's the 4th total. Obviously, I got the bonus wrong, so that's 5 altogether. Number 5, I got wrong, so that's the 5th overall. 0 flips in Indianapolis. It was just a random one. It was just a random one I wanted to throw out there. Obviously, I don't wish flips to happen. All the adrenaline carnage junkies want them. I don't know why. But you had 2 this year. 2 this year, had 1 almost happen. Simpson, obviously, on Fast Friday, nearly blew over out of the turn 4, nearly hit the caution light. Scary enough. And then, obviously, on day 1 of qualifying, Herta flipped it in the same spot he did 3 years ago in 2022, except this time it didn't go Priest way. It went the normal IndyCar way. So he flipped it over in between 1 and 2. He was all right, obviously. It was a hard hit.
Didn't McLaughlin get a little bit? When McLaughlin hit, didn't he kind of slightly?
This is how I define a flip. If the car passes 90 degrees, I consider that to be a flip. So Simpson's went about 80, so like that. McLaughlin really went like that, and then it sat back down. The scary thing with McLaughlin's is his tire went way north, and then the whole assembly line came crashing. They actually chunked a piece off of turn 2. They were red for, I want to say it was like 35 minutes trying to get the track seeped back in. But yeah, so thank God we didn't have any really horrifying wrecks during the 500
You didn't have anything to the point, like, thankfully in general in the 500, you really didn't have anything that was overly concerning to the point where, like, a Stephen Wilson level incident where we had, what was that, 2020?
22. Or 23.
Oh, yeah, 23. It was because they made the attenuator change, which we'll get into all the Indy 500 drama later.
We might have to make
that would have been 23.
We have to make a 6th. You'll have to make a 6th bracket just to talk about Indy. We'll save Indy for last because at this rate, we're not going to get through the night. It's going to be 1 in the morning by the time we finish this damn thing. So then going on to number 10, because this is another one of the ones that made sense in hindsight, but it just didn't work out. He had a good run, but he couldn't get a job. Pato O'Ward, I thought, was finally going to win the 500. The momentum was treading in the right way, and it just didn't go. The whole month didn't go right for him. He had some good runs. I want to say he finished top 10 in the 500, but he just couldn't get it done. Obviously, it was such an unpredictable race. You had so many comers and goers, and then obviously Palou ended up getting the clutch at the end, getting a toe off the lappers. But Pato just wasn't in the mix at the end of it, so it's going to happen, but it's just not going to be.
I feel bad sitting there and going, this is Pato's year, but I really think that this next year is Pato's year. And I think that if it doesn't happen, we're still going to say that next year. Because Pato O'Ward has been a threat
it's going to be a safe bet.
To win.
I feel like Josh Revel every year saying that Lance Stroll's going to win a race. I'm just going to be every year until it happens. I say Pato's going to win the 500. Pato's going to win the 500. Pato's going to win the 500. Hell, last year I said, the past 2 years I've done this. I said Palou was going to win it, and the 1 year I don't, he does.
In Josh's case, though, you get a wet race, and the sun is shining on him. A wet race. Lance Stroll will win one day.
I mean, that's besides the point. We don't talk about that European bullshit. So, going on to number 6 was the one that would have made sense, honestly. And then after this, you're going to see some outlandish shit that really didn't go my way. Number 6, I had Miles Rowe was going to win the Indy Next Championship. He had one hell of a year. He finished 3rd in points. The reason I thought he was finally going to get it done is I made this post February 25th, which was a week before St. Pete this year. The October Indy Lights test, he topped it by about a second and a half. He did great. Didn't have a real good season last year. He didn't have a bad year. It was okay for a rookie year. He did all right. He had a couple podiums. I was going to say his highest finish was 3rd. Was really just trying to figure out the tracks. That's what you really want to do to a rookie. You're not going to be like Hauger and go out and win everything. That just doesn't happen all the time. So it was one of the things where it made sense, but it also couldn't happen with the talent field being so level this year in Indy Next. You had the highest car count since the mid-'90s in that series. HMD's really carrying this thing.
We'll get to that later, but that might be something to watch next season because of Martin.
Miles did get, I'd call him sophomore of the year if you want to go that far. 2 wins, Iowa and then Nashville. Nashville reminded me of a mid-2000s IndyCar race. That was amazing for Indy Next standards. That was amazing. I love that. So he finally ended up getting his first 2 wins, finished 3rd in the standings, so attaboy to him. But I also talked to him at Detroit. You did as well. He just felt really confident this year, and that's kind of where I was like, I hadn't been able to get to Hauger yet, and Lockie I hadn't talked to in a year or 2. So Miles just kind of struck me as someone who's like, we're going to win this. Be do it if we damned. So,
I mean, I have not seen a driver like. And keep in mind, this was beginning. This was before the season started, wasn't it? Detroit Auto Show was where we caught him before the season started.
3rd week of January was right after the Rolex 24, I think.
And I don't think I've ever seen a driver in his what we could consider as his junior or sophomore or freshman or sophomore season walk into an area with so much like it wasn't arrogant. But it was, I'm going to be okay.
Hell, I had a 5-minute interview with him, and the only thing he really cared he sat down and literally was talking about the cars that were there. One of the questions I asked him was like, what's your favorite car? And I swear 2 minutes of that 5-minute interview was just talking about the auto show itself. He just was having a good time there, and he just enjoyed it.
And I don't think he's not taking it seriously, but I think he's confident. He knows that he's got a good team underneath him. He knows that he's proven he can keep his cool. And, I mean, that Mid-Ohio race for him was not ideal.
No, that probably would cost him 2nd in the points.
And, I mean, didn't he come from he got caught up in that first incident. At Detroit, and then still he got caught up in something, like he had to pit or something at Mid-Ohio. Because I know he came from the back, and he was back there with Aller and Deegan.
Yeah.
And I think he was mid-pack or upper mid-pack at the end of it.
He went to the back, and then he qualified at the back. The big scary thing is, we'll talk on this as well when we go on to our season as a whole. I got battle scars from Mid-Ohio. We'll get into that whole drama when that happens when we get to it. Going for Miles Rowe, had a good season, just couldn't lock up a title. He will return next year to Abel. In my head, it's either him, Max Garcia, or Lockie. If anyone even comes close to fighting that 3, I don't want to know who they are because they're not leaving IndyCar for years to come. You can't beat those 3, I feel like. So it's going to be one of those 3. In my mind, it's really going to be between Lockie and Miles because I don't think Max Garcia is going to be able to get a hang of the car right off the gate. He could. Obviously, the test in October, that's what that's for. The Sebring test in January next year will help him out too. But it's really in my mind between Lockie and Miles. So,
And I
but
mean, yeah, it's racing, so you really don't know what you're getting into.
Right. Going on from there, we have, let me see, 1, 2, 3. All right, so these are the ones that I'm sweating over because thinking of them then made sense. Thinking of them now, okay. So we'll go into the one that was almost one for me. So I said Scott Dixon was going to go winless this year.
Oh, and by all means, I agree.
I was one bad corner from Palou away from getting this one. At Mid-Ohio, Palou dropped the tire in the grass, and then Dixon goes on to win the race twice. Yeah,
twice in the same corner. I think it was just off a 9.
That doesn't happen. Dixon goes winless. I get the prediction. So,
but Palou is such a.
Did he win 2 races this year, or was it just Mid-Ohio?
No, it was just Mid-Ohio. I think he got second somewhere else.
He got second at Toronto, I think. Who won Toronto?
Where did he finish in the 500?
Cato won Toronto. Remember, he fell out early because he had that brake fire on the start.
Oh, yep.
McLaughlin's wreck.
And I'll get into that if we cover when we cover the 500. But I remember seeing that, and it wasn't what people thought it was. I saw the front rotor on fire. If we're able to, I'll be able to, if I can in the future, I'll show pictures. But I remember having a picture of him coming by, and the front rotor was actually on fire.
Yeah.
Instead of the back, which everybody says the back. There's both.
Oh, man. So, before I make a complete ass of myself, let's look at the one I did get right. Palou won on an oval. I said that was finally going to happen. Got 2 this year. Got the second Iowa race. Was it the second Iowa race or was it the first one? Second Iowa race. And then obviously the Indy 500. Indy 500, yeah. No one really in my head saw that coming. I mean, to a roundabout way. But everyone in their heads thinking, oh, it's going to be Pato. I thought Palou would have a chance, but I just figured the oval thing really hadn't hit him yet. And then once he got the lead and once his lappers got ahead of him, you weren't going to get by him.
Well, so even like for the Indy
Iowa
500.
was just Iowa. The only reason he won Iowa is because Newgarden ran out of time.
Yeah.
Newgarden is the king of corn country, and we'll get into Iowa later. Believe me, I'm a little upset about that.
The only reason that Palou won the Indy 500 is because
Ryan Hunter-Reay, unfortunately, had a bad pit stop. But
Ryan had the pit stop, and I will tell you, I still believe that if it was not for the fuel pump packing up on that 2 machine, we were going to probably see Joseph Newgarden run Alex Palou and just the front runners down all the way to the stripe and possibly see a last lap pass for the win. Right. I think it was definitely possible.
Right. And then, speaking of Newgarden, oh boy, I had him. Let me get my points out of the way so I can really go into where I went wrong. Okay, so we got there. So originally this was a lot worse than how it is going to be now. So Newgarden this year finished 12th in the standings. I said Newgarden was going to win the championship.
And I mean, if you look at how he was last year.
I talked to him at Detroit. He just explained to me how much confident that team was in the championship focus this year. They said in their head they want to obviously win the 500, but they said their mindset was championship because they've been the class at Indy the past 2 years. Championship, they've been good. They ain't been consistent. Obviously, last year, Newgarden won every oval race but one of them. This year, he won Nashville, which by coincidence was the only oval race he didn't win last year. So,
you look at that, but you also look at the crew he's got underneath him, Brandon. That crew is the same one that's won the pit stop challenge the last 2 years in a row. Like, it wasn't a pit road problem.
Did they win it this year?
Yes, they did. They went back to back. It was the exact same crew as last year too. I don't think anybody changed. What's
up, Upshift? Finally, someone I recognize. Oh, your friends are in here.
Couple. But I think that not necessarily is a bad crew. I don't think they missed the setup. I just don't think if I had to throw a speculative guess, I'd go let's spin the wheel of excuses here and say he just didn't adapt well to the hybrid. Or it was mechanical stuff because the Indy 500 was mechanical.
It is Tuesday. Man. Yeah, honestly, I just think he might have gotten into his own head. I mean,
it could have.
Once it starts having a few bad runs in an Indy,
even ego can get in your own head. You look at Ericsson.
I wasn't able to speak to Newgarden after Indy, so I don't know really how he felt, but I can't imagine how demoralizing that was when you have the car to beat. You start the tail end of the field, you're 8th, and then your fucking car shits its pants.
Yeah, and I can tell you right now.
Finally got to win at Nashville. And to be fair, he really shouldn't have won Nashville. McLaughlin screwed it up, jumped the marbles, got up into the marbles, and then washed up. Pato had the car to beat. Tire blows out. Herta was up there for a little bit, had a speeding penalty, I believe. And then, obviously, Palou was up there for a number of laps as well. Newgarden really just survived the carnage to win Nashville, which, I'm happy for him. It's a hometown victory for him. It might lead into good momentum next year, but we'll go on to that when we get to it. We're not going to talk about predictions for next year until roughly around probably the middle part of February. I want to wait for all the silly season cards to play into effect before I kind of go into predictions for next season. But
I'm still here.
No, you're good. That's why I'm rambling. That's why I'm rambling. But yeah. So Newgarden, I said was going to win the IndyCar Championship. This was the worst season of his career. Before he won Nashville, I do want to say he was 16th in the points. He was 16th in the points. You want to know people that were ahead of him at the end of the season? Well, look at this. Before Iowa, or before Nashville, Rinus VeeKay was ahead of him. Both his teammates, Will Power, Scott McLaughlin, were ahead of him. And obviously, all the regular guys. Kiffin was 17th in points. We'll get into that a little bit.
He was 17th after the podium that he had at Canada?
Well, he had a good late season. His start of the season was still figuring out some things. But,
and not to mention, where was he at Mid-Ohio? He wasn't on pole, but...
Top six, I believe. Fast 6. So, the last one of these predictions that I'm going to go into was, one, if you look through the momentum of last year, you think maybe, but I figured this would have lit a fire under his ass. He finished, I want to say it was 3rd in the points last year, Colton Herta. I said he was going to win 3 or more races this year, and that was really just because of the season he had last year. He had a hell of a season last year. It was the best season of his career. And I want to say if you win the title, you win 40 super license points, and if you finish second, I think you win 30, and you need 40 to get a super license. So obviously he had 30, and then the year before gave him 1. So I figured this year would have just made him drive harder, and I can't say he was in contention for anything other than Nashville. But Herta obviously is going to Cadillac as a test and reserve driver, and it's rumored to be F2. It's pretty much locked in stone. We just don't know the team yet. Rumor was Prema. Prema denied it. So we'll see probably in the coming weeks because F1 starts their season off in Melbourne next year. So I don't know if F2.
How long has it been since they started the season in Australia?
That's where Melbourne is, obviously. So they'll start there. But we don't know anything about. I don't think F2 races there. They might, but we'll know here in a couple months. Obviously, F1 teams like to get their drivers, or F2 and F1 teams like to get their drivers locked up pretty damn early because sponsors and contracts are just much more prevalent over there. So Out of the 11 predictions I said, I got one.
Well, hey.
I got to beat
that
one
means
next
if
year.
you get two next year,
I got to
it
beat
better be more
one.
this year.
I got to beat one next year. That's all I got to do. I got to beat one. Robbie Noonan, what's up? What's up, Jesse? How you doing? So, I got to beat one next year. That's what I'm aiming for. I got 7 the year before. I got 7 out of 10, I believe. That was a hell of a year. 2024. Good year. But moving on from that, we will take a look at our points recap. I will start from the top or the bottom, and I'll work our way up. So, first off, I'm going to name the 6 part-time guys. Obviously, didn't really play into a lot of effect. Obviously, Marco Andretti, Kyle Larson, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Jack Harvey, Ed Carpenter, Elio Castroneves, Sato made one-off starts at the Indy 500. Nothing too extraordinary with them, except for one. Ryan Hunter-Reay. Man, what if? That was a big what if for him.
What in the world happened there? Because he goes in, he wrote off the chassis to a fire.
He had a fire on Carb Day. Not Carb Day. Carb Day. He had a big fire on Carb Day, and then...
Yeah, he had a big fire on Carb Day, and we come in the morning, and I remember, because we come in together in the media pen parking, and we roll up, and we're hearing him doing his shakedown run. And I, at that point in my mind, I'm like, it's a fresh car because of the fire.
What they did was they let him go out on Saturday before the main autograph session. They let him shake the car down. What they did was they had him exit off of pit road, go through 1 and 2, backstretch 3 and 4, come into the pit road, and then just cycle it in, just warm it up, not really do much to it.
Yeah, and I really thought
the car they brought on Sunday.
Yeah, it's nuts. But what you got to think about, and what really made this even more impressive for Acoustic Motorsports, is that you look at the Indy 500, you look at every average time, you have a car that you rip up your main car, and you may not make the field. Weirdly enough, though, this year, if you look at everybody who tore a car up, everybody who tore a car up this year actually make the field. And I mean, even down to the point of what I've dubbed Shankenstein, which was, and we'll get into that with the Indy 500 later. But
Yeah.
I mean, hats off to Ryan Hunter-Reay and to that Cusick team for doing something that nobody expected, and I think that nobody expected is just a lot of the Indy 500. But we'll get into that.
Right. And then, obviously, Kyle Larson, Marco Andretti, Jack Harvey, Ed Carpenter, Castroneves, and Sato had one-off starts. Harvey was a Fox reporter all day, or all season. I think he did a good job as a pit reporter this year, and obviously he was a color commentator in Indy Next. Really good. For never doing it before, he kicked ass at it, I think, for a first-time guy. Kyle Larson... Man, I really thought he would have at least done okay this year. He had everything that could have gone wrong, went wrong. Wrecked the car in testing, wrecked the car in practice twice, wrecked the car in qualifying, wrecked the car at the 500. And the way he wrecked it, oh man, downshifts in the middle of the corner and takes out 4 or 5 people. And on top of that, he made himself look like an ass because he made fun of McLaughlin on the lap 1 crash. He's like, man, someone wrecked the whole start.
Who was in that wreck? Wasn't Ferrucci involved in that wreck? It was Ferrucci?
No, it was Kevin Simpson and Stingray Robb, I think.
Okay, I got it. It was another red, white, and blue.
Firewall off the exit at 2 and how the water come into the cockpit over the halo.
Okay, so I knew it was a red, white, and blue car. I didn't know if it was Ferrucci or if it was Robb.
And if you guys can't see
Kiffin.
if you guys can't see it, I had to pick one of these up later in the year. I got it off of eBay. But the new IXO models, we'll talk about this in a little bit because this is their first year making diecast this year. Had to pick one of these up because, well, the scalpers, you know how they are. They'll make these worth $1,000 eventually for some damn reason. But good looking car.
Looks nervously at R34 Skyline Hot Wheels cars.
Really sharp looking. It's somewhere over here. But yeah, I just had a horrible season. He's already said he doesn't plan on doing it anymore. And honestly,
it's stressful.
Ever since then, he hasn't done damn in NASCAR.
I wonder if it just shook his confidence.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Ed Carpenter, he had a good run. Him and Rossi tried to play strategy real early in the race, led a number of laps. Marco Andretti, the Andretti curse continued. He made 100 foot before that back end stepped out in turn one on the second attempt at the start, obviously. But the Andretti curse continues, and I have heard he does plan to come back next year. So we'll see if it continues or if it doesn't. And then we lead into Helio Castroneves. He had a solid outing at the 500. Nothing extraordinary, but nothing to really say it was a bad race for him or not. Takuma Sato. That one was a really good drive from him. He put that thing on the front row. And then we talk about, what the fuck is his comments, dude?
The package for the IXO.
Oh, the IXO? Okay. I'm like, I will not show you my package. That is, no. Yeah, so they come in these little boxes, and then obviously the car, you can see the nose is a lot raised up than I'd probably like, but really cool looking packaging. They still have the hang up stuff. I was really hoping they still have these you can hang up on the walls, because I don't like to open them. Actually, all these are IndyCar stuff. So, got all that taken care of, but going back on to Sato, put the thing on the front row, I think it was second, and then in testing, when they jumped the boost up for day 2 of testing, he was fastest before the car stepped out on me and he got in a wreck. But that will end it for the part-time guys. So, if you want to
West overall was.
If you want to talk about technicality on full-time guys, Jacob Abel, he did miss one race. Obviously, he was the bump. Ultra race, I don't know. So, he was the bump from the 500, and that was just a disaster classroom coin of him and VK trading blows. And then obviously, with 26, you had Devlin. Best season of his career, had a lot of inconsistencies. Had some good runs. A lot of run-ins with Scott McLaughlin this year. Think about back to Thermal when they fought on pit road. Well, they didn't really fight. They argued like crazy, though. Stingray Rob, I really feel like he figured out car control this year. Obviously being his, I want to say it was his third season in IndyCar. And his best season to date. Robert Schwartzman and Louis Foster, 24th and 23rd respectively. 2 points was the separation for the Rookie of the Year. 2 points was the separation. So both of them had really, I would say, decent seasons for rookies. Nothing extraordinary. Foster put the thing on pole. I forgot where, though. Was it Road America? I think it was Road America. I think it was Road America, yeah. Louis Foster had a pole at Road America. Robert Schwartzman had the big one, though. Pole at the 500. And, unfortunately...
And that is still wild. That it is still one of the most unexpected poles we've ever had. I think the most unexpected pole we've ever had in the IndyCar.
I've seen some wild ones, but we're not going to get into that. Then we look at 22nd in
everybody that could have taken it this year.
Right.
The wildest.
22nd in point. I mean, to be fair, Stingray would have put it up there. I feel like the whole world would have cheered for him. But we'll talk about
FP1 would have fallen off his chair.
We'll talk more about that here in a sec. One thing I do want to get into, 23rd was Foster. He had 213 points. You want to know who also had 213 points? And 22nd was Nolan Siegel. Siegel did miss a race, actually. He missed the second Iowa race.
Because of his, was it concussion? Or?
He had a concussion because he had a late race crash in race 1. But if it weren't for that, he'd be a lot higher in points. I do think, even for technically it's his rookie season, because he only ran, I think, 5 races last year. And one of them
he was brought in for the 500.
Right, but I would say, honestly, for a McLaren car to finish 22nd in points, it's disappointing. I'm not going to like crap on him because, I mean, it's a second year. No one, in my opinion, really got rushed out of Indy Next. He ran a season and a half, but it's one thing to jump him up to a competitive car, but that 6 car has never really ever been, at least recently. When Wickens was in it, it was amazing. But yeah, he ran 5 races last year with, because I know he ran one of the Juncos races after they booted Canapino. He ran. He ran the latter half of the season with McLaren after they fired Teo Pourchaire.
Yeah, because they fired Teo.
Yeah, and then he ran out of the
Teo was brought in because Malukas
injury.
Yeah, his injury.
And then he obviously ran Long Beach with Coyne, attempted the 500 with Coyne, obviously got bumped after the flip on bump day. And then we look at Kyle Milot. Nothing really to write home about it. 21st is really about where he ran with Juncos, where he ran with Prema. It's good to have a veteran in that car, though, to kind of help them. Here's a real disappointing one. Marcus Ericsson 20th with Andretti Autosport. Or in Global, sorry. Still not used to that change.
Overall, I feel like you look at, towards the end of the season, was it Iowa? Race 2? Or was it No. Where they had just a string of bad luck. Like, atrocious luck. Well, yeah. It was them, wasn't it? At Iowa in race 2. Where they all missed the setup and they ended up, I think, all DNFing.
Yeah, Andretti just completely missed it. Graham Rahal.
I think that's part of it.
Graham Rahal in 19th. He had a up and down year. The Indy GP. I will say, as a kid growing up in Columbus, Ohio for 10 years, it was really cool to see a Rahal doing good at Indy. I'm not going to be out there fanning for a guy. I just think the hometown connection is really neat. But Rahal had a good year for, I feel like, that team's standard-wise. And I feel like what they are, they're really good on the natural terrain road courses. Or the flatter courses like Road America, Indy, and then street courses they just can't get it right. Ovals, they really can't get it right. This year, past 3 or 4 years with them on bump day has just been sad to see too. Connor Daly had a few good runs. He was 18th in points. A couple good runs on ovals. The Indy 500 comes to mind. Obviously, he had a car that could have won that race, but the tire degradation was on it. Kiffin had the best season of his career. His second season for him, sophomore. Was it podium at Toronto? Podium at Toronto. Almost had another podium at Nashville. McLaughlin got him at the line by about a foot.
I'm really wondering if we're going to see a turning point for next year for Kiffin Simpson.
Not a lot of wrecks. I never was one to hate on him coming into it. Do I believe there was better options? Of course. Linus Lundqvist comes to mind. But Kiffin was never a bad guy in Indy Next. Had a couple wins. I think it was 2 wins, actually. One win, actually. But he's decent at car control. His main issue is he has never been one with the media. He is locked in always. So he is one that's really good at focusing.
He's gotten better. I actually had a brief conversation with Kiffin at the start of the year.
He was Detroit. Good. Yeah, at the auto show in January.
And he was very relaxed, and I kind of asked about the season, and he seemed more confident. And I think once you're able to knock the dust off and start to sand the sharp edges of your first junior season or freshman season in IndyCar, I think it's a lot easier. I won't confidently sit here and say that somebody like Halger or Hughes could jump straight into IndyCar and be competitive. I mean, there's some sort of learning curve there, but I really think
Right.
that he made a massive improvement, and I'm very impressed with how he's done.
Right. I mean, even if you look at Indy Next guys have never hit the ground running, I'd say. Herta really is the only one recently. It's always taken a year or two to get consistent. Pato didn't win his first season until 2020. Herta won his second or third start at Coda back in 2019. Ferrucci, in my opinion, took a step back this year. Not by a lot. It just wasn't really up there fighting as much. His aggression kind of knocked down just a tad. I think he missed Toronto. Yeah, he missed Toronto because he had a pretty big warm-up crash the morning of, and they couldn't get the car fixed. So he ended up missing a race, too. So we have a lot of guys.
I don't think he got medically cleared either.
Well, he was medically cleared. They didn't have enough time to get the backup ready. So Rossi, I feel like, took a step up this year from his McLaren affair last year. I do think he was lower in points, but that's mainly just because the Carpenter cars, the ECR cars, just aren't up to step with McLaren. But obviously he had some good runs. I think he had a couple of podiums this year too. VK really carried Coyne on his back this year. A lot of good runs this year, a lot of top tens. He was the one to unfortunately bump Abel out of the 500. And then we talk about number 13th in points, Rasmussen. Oh boy, what a year it's been for him.
Woo!
If you want to get into sophomore Rasmussen, let me take a tad look real quick.
This is going to be controversial, but I'll go on the record and say this.
If you want to discuss sophomore of the year, I would say it'd be Rasmussen for sure.
Okay, I'm going to go on the record and say this about Christian Rasmussen. He feels to me like the Carson Hocevar of IndyCar.
He was someone born in the wrong era. If he would have been born in the 80s, so when he was 20, when the IRL oval craze started happening, we'd be talking about Foyt level numbers from the IRL. He has probably one of the best car controls on a flat oval out of everyone in the series. The moves he was making at the end of Milwaukee reminded you of someone who drove a front-engine sprint car on pavement.
Oh, it was beautiful. And to my absolute chagrin, I had to catch a flight back from Florida where I was at the Coke 400 that weekend. And I flew back in the plane that I took for my hop flight from North Carolina to Indiana was some ancient, regional jet that didn't have Wi-Fi. And I got the news that Christian Rasmussen had won, and I went back and watched the replay. And wow, once he took that final restart, I don't think I've ever seen anybody drive that hard and get away with it.
Right, obviously you got a tire advantage, but you also have to be able to handle that kind of grip.
Yeah. I mean, I think ninja hands, just as much as the ninja moniker applies to somebody like Pato or somebody like Polo. Yeah, he's got pretty quick reactions, and he's an amazing guy. I've met him, and one of my greatest photos of him is him and his significant other. Good people, and I firmly believe he deserved that win.
We go 12th on points was Newgarden. We obviously talked about that. 11th was Malukas. I would say best season of his career, 1,000%. Had a lot of solid runs. Agree. Didn't get a lot of solid runs this year. Didn't get that first win. Came close on a lot of the ovals, especially. The one that hurt the most was he got second at the Indy 500. One thing to add on to Ericsson is he did get DNQ'd from the Indy 500. Ericsson originally finished second. They found the car was, I think, weight was too light, but they ended up disqualifying him and Kirkwood. And I want to say Ilott as well. They disqualified Ilott as well, but Malukas ended up finishing second at the 500 on technicality-wise. Best season of his career. There is a lot of rumors about him, whether he's going to go to Penske next year, whether he will stay with Foyt, or whether he'll find somewhere else. I hope not, but
I mean, I think he'll have a seat for sure, at least.
oh, for sure. He's
Somewhere.
one of the hottest prospects in the series. 10th was McLaughlin. Just a down year in general for Penske. Nothing really to write home about there. He went winless for, I want to say, the second season of his career. Got a pole somewhere. And then
he had his...
Will Power, obviously, was the best out of the three at Penske. Got that win at Portland. And just had some good runs, too. Had a good run going at Nashville. Yeah, Nashville. He had a good run going to Nashville before something went wrong on the car. Marcus Armstrong went under the radar.
We got to go back, though. We got to go back to McLaughlin. I do think we need to address the elephant in the room that was Indy. That crash, I don't think he was ever the same after that. Because,
the Indy race?
Yeah. I mean...
Which one, the flip or the race wreck?
The pace lap.
The pace lap? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That got down to him. I think he lost some confidence in himself after that. And I really wonder what could have been if he because I think he would have maybe had a shot at it for the 500. Because I talked to Penske crews in general, and all those guys were fired up. And so I think that there was a serious shot of Scott McLaughlin possibly winning that race.
Right. All right, so we talked about Power. One thing I really haven't heard a lot of people talk about, 8th in points with Meyer Shank, was Marcus Armstrong.
I think he was a bit of a sleeper this season.
He was a huge sleeper. A lot of good qualifying runs from. A lot of good runs, too. 8th in the points for third season. He's obviously the first season was in 23.
Okay, he is in third.
First season was in 23. He ran some part-time with Ganassi. And then last year he went full-time at Ganassi. And then this year he went to Meyer Shank after they were forced to downsize. But really good teammate. He didn't get into a lot of incidents, and he just kept the car clean. A lot of good results from it. Herta in 7th, I'd say, was probably disappointing. He got 2 poles, didn't get any wins, 7th in points. Nothing to really write home about. Felix Rosenquist, I really thought he was going to get a win this year. He does have a win, 2020, at Road America, in the 10, the year before Palou took the ride. He hasn't won since. He's been close a lot. Road America this year, he was running down Palou, just ran out of time. Lundgaard, really consistent at the early part of the year, and then had some good runs near the end of it. 5th in points for him. His first season in McLaren, I'd say, was pretty successful. Did get a pole. Then we look in 4th place. The winningest driver not named Palou, we go to Kyle Kirkwood, the street course master this year. Obviously, Palou won St. Pete, but Kirkwood got Long Beach, Detroit, and then he got a win at Gateway, that wild Gateway race.
And he put on a clinic at Detroit.
His big issue was just consistency, and that disqualification at Indy did not help his case at all. 4th in points for him. Dixon, 3rd in points. I mean, what can you say? When he's not winning, he's at least top 10.
I think, and what's funny is you hear every other year, oh, this may be the year Dixon retires. Scott Dixon reminds me of John Force in a way that I think he's just got to, I think he's just part of that car and that right. Number 9 Chip Ganassi Honda. And I think I don't even think they're gonna let him go. I think he's gonna decide to go when he's ready. Right. And I still am gonna put this out there now. Scott Dixon will not go winless next year.
No, I really don't. And watch, he will now that we said it. 2nd in points, Pato Award. Got 2 wins this year. Got Toronto and the first Iowa race. 3 poles as well. Should have had a 3rd win. Really, Nashville was tough for him, having that tire failure. And then, I mean, heck, he locked up 2nd a race early, too. And then the guy who locked it up at Portland, 8 wins on the year,
Palou.
6 poles, average finish in the top 5.
It's Alex Palou.
The Gorilla, what do they call him? The Gorilla?
Oh, the master. Fast
You can't even
hands.
call. Can't even label him to a specific track. 2 oval wins, street
I
course win,
remember
almost
start of the
every
year.
road course win.
He'd never won an oval, and I remember going into the 500 and going, "Oh, I think, I'm gonna say Dixon. I'm gonna say Daly. I'm gonna say
Fucking
Pato
Newgarden.
and Newgarden. Not even a thought on my mind.
Yep.
And then when he won it, I go, yeah, that was reasonable. I should have expected that.
It got to the point where in the prediction game I played with like 6 other people, we just started site below. Every like natural terrain road course, whether it be like Laguna Seca, Road America, IMS, where else do you win? Portland. It was close at Portland until Lundgaard held him up. But I mean, you go to race for your position. I don't care if the guy's locked up the title before you. Don't let a guy go. But and then obviously got the win at Iowa number 2, and then the Indy 500, and then the street course at St. Pete, and then he got Thermal Club as well. So just utter dominant year. Most dominant year we've seen, I'd say, in the IRL era of the sport. So 1996 to now. I'd say this is the most dominant season we've had. He locked it up by almost 200 points. He was 194 back of Pato Award, or ahead of Pato Award. So it's really just like incredible. I don't think this is going to stop either. If he chooses to stay in IndyCar, and believe me, he's got offers to go to F1. And if an F1 team wants him, I would say take it. But if he chooses to stay in IndyCar, this guy's going to win 10-digit championships. I'm just saying this right now.
I mean, if they keep Barry Wanzer, Scott Simmons, and the crew they've got now, yeah, I agree.
And the PR guy he's got hypes him the fuck up, too. Alfonso,
Alberto,
yeah.
Alberto, and like his management team, like he's put together the power package, and I'm expecting good things from him.
I'd say next year.
So we want to move on the schedule because we've been at this for an hour.
Yeah, I think it'll take a step back next year, but it's not going to be by much. So let's take a look at the schedule. Finally. St. Pete, not a surprise, March 1st. They will be there with the NASCAR. The NASCAR Truck Series will be there with them, so that's something really cool to see. Then we have our first new edition, or should I say returning edition. Last time we were there was, I want to say it was 2018. Phoenix, the Oval in Phoenix returns. We will be there.
Which I'll ask this, Brandon. Do they use the dog leg? Do they actually use the dog leg?
The Cup cars, Xfinity cars, truck cars, ARCA cars all do that. I don't think the Indy cars would be able to handle the transition that quickly. I feel like it would break loose very fast. It'd be like stepping on the apron at IMS. But they will use the short aero package, which will make them a lot more downforce friendly. So, and then we will be there at Phoenix with the NASCAR Cup Series. It is a night race. We get a night race. Let's go. Second race, March 15th, we head to a new race, so we have nothing to really go off of it all. We don't even have an iRacing scan to really try and think of it. It's Arlington. In Arlington, Texas, we will race around the Dallas Cowboys football stadium on a street course. Then the earliest I want to say Barber has ever been, we will go to March 29th, Barber Motorsports Park. One thing fans have been clamoring for the past 5 years has been we need more races at the start of the year. We need an oval for the Indy 500. We have 3 to start the season back-to-back weekends. Great from IndyCar and Penske to do that. Barber being in March, I like. In my eyes, nothing should be in May other than Indy, but we'll get into that. Then we have our first, I'd say, crown jewel of the year. Long Beach is April 19th. No shocker there. It's really where it's been for a while.
Then and they share that. I don't think people realize they share that Long Beach weekend with, it's not just IMSA even. I think they share Long Beach with IMSA and Formula Drift.
Well, Formula Drifts are the weekend before.
Oh, okay, it is? Yeah.
That's how it's always been.
and you can actually see it because you can pick out where they're drifting because there's a lot more
Right.
rubber down. And I've always wondered, and I've never gotten to ask the question of, I wonder how that rubber actually impacts the racing through those corners.
I don't think it'd be as much as you'd think because it has a week, and it really depends because there has been some Long Beach races where rain has played an effect, but it really just depends too. And then we're off for 3.5 weeks or 3 weeks. Again, I don't like this, but Long Beach is April 19th. Then we go all the way to May 9th is the IMS road course. In between that, you will have the Indy 500 oval test, the annual test every year, and then and May 24th, we have the 110th running of the Indianapolis 500. I mean, what can you say more? Memorial Day weekend. Then May 31st is Detroit.
And we are staying on the current street circuit, correct?
We're staying on the current street circuit. There was tons of rumors that they might go to Belle Isle, the GM Rensen building that really has become a staple of Detroit for a number of years. Like they were thinking about demolishing some of the outer towers. They were thinking about doing that. So for now, it stays in downtown Detroit. Then we had 1 week later, we go to St. Louis for, I was just going to say this right now, that was the best race of the season. So then Road America, June 21st, we're off a couple weeks. Then we're off for another week, and then July 4th weekend, we had Mid-Ohio, my home race personally. Then we have our first moved race, our second moved race. Excuse me. July 19th will be Nashville. That's going to be horrible. They would have to, I would really hope they do that race at night, because if you've ever been to Tennessee in the middle of summer, it is the worst thing imaginable, how hot it gets. Then we're off for 4 weeks, and we head to Portland August 9th. And then we head to our second new track layout. Not a new area. Obviously, Markham is in the Ontario-Toronto sub-area, but it is a new layout in a new part of the city. So really excited for that. Canadian-born, gotta love it. So, and then we head to a double header. August 29th and 30th, we go back to the Milwaukee Mile. I hope this race stays for years to come. Great venue, great track, great racing. And then we end the year with Laguna Seca. I don't agree with this. I didn't agree with it when it was the championship a few years ago. I feel like we need to end the season at a oval because it is an equalizer, and it just creates a story. And it's not manufacturing drama like with a playoff system or double points. It's the fact that it's an oval carries enough drama and weight on its own. That's why Nationals worked. That's why Chicagoland years ago worked. That's why, I don't know. Ovals just work. So, but I get why they do it. You can't get rid of Laguna Seca. I am happy that we are ending it in September this year. Very short season. I mean, it was the middle of March to the last weekend of August this year. So that is the 2026 IndyCar schedule. So our third point will be silly season. So I'll let you kind of talk a little bit of some of the bombshells that got dropped on Tuesday last week. Holy cow, it's like we got Labor Day and then boom.
Yeah, it was really, I remember like, oh, Will Power's out. Oh, Will Power to Penske. Oh, VK out. Okay, Herta out. Okay, Herta, boom, confirmed to go to Cadillac as test reserve. And it was like maybe it might have been 7 different announcements within the span of like a couple hours. And it was really just kind of a bomb dropped on the IndyCar silly season. And really the silly season for me, what really makes me sit there and go, is you still have a couple bits of silly season left. Malukas is not confirmed. I could be wrong. Does he have a contract right now? Anyone?
No, Malukas isn't confirmed yet. VK isn't confirmed yet.
And VK actually unveiled that livery in Nashville.
Daly isn't confirmed yet. Isla and Schwartzman aren't confirmed, although Schwartzman did say he hasn't people were starting to make rumors about him saying that he had already chose to leave. He came out and defended, saying he hasn't chosen to leave. That doesn't mean he's returning 100%, but I would say it's more likely he will. And if you just look at the way Schwartzman acted this year, he grew to love the series. If he would leave, it would be because he's got a damn good contract somewhere else. I
agree. I think he really likes the IndyCar.
Obviously,
the lesser races, the fan base.
With Ilott, you've had some people say that he might want to go back to Europe, race in the World Endurance Championship with Jonah again, like he did last year. You've heard people say he wants to stay here in IndyCar. And it's one of those things where I would hope for him to stay, but I wouldn't be shocked if he left either, just because, I mean, it's one of those things. And then, obviously, power to Andretti. VK left Coyne kind of out of nowhere. And
yeah, because they unveiled delivery, and then they turn around and he's gone. And he was rumored to go.
Abel isn't confirmed either. And
now,
from what I've been told, the Rick Ware partnership was phased out about a year ago. I think they're fully phasing that out. So what they're going to do is they're going to keep the 18, obviously, because that's Coyne's number. But the 51 is going to be rebranded to the 19, which is one of Coyne's older signature numbers. Because the 51 was only there for a Rick Ware partnership. And then a small little bit of news that came out on Thursday last week. Cusick Motorsports will rebrand as Cusick Morgan Motorsports, as they did announce they will make a 2-car team in Indy next year, partnered with HMD. Drivers aren't confirmed yet.
And then HMD is actually cutting down, so I think HMD is going to 4 cars. And so the interesting thing about that, I'll bump in here, Brandon.
That isn't confirmed yet. I heard that all season, though, so that's one of those things
I swear I saw that under either that is a post that I saw. I know I saw either for Cusick Morgan or for HMD. Somebody somewhere or Indy Next made a post.
I heard it all the way back in IMS. I heard it all the way back at the Sanzio Grand Prix that they were thinking about downsizing.
But that makes you wonder: where's somebody like Nolan Aller or
if Deegan chooses to return? I've heard rumors that Deegan might want to go back to NASCAR. You got a lot of people that are really need rides. Max Taylor's not full time. Evagoras Papasavas had some good runs last year. This year I feel like he needs a ride. Miles Rowe, he's already locked in with Abel. A team that is returning to Indy Next after a year off is Juncos. They announced they will bring 2 cars back starting next year. And Max Garcia has announced he will go to Abel Motorsports. They believe they announced that, I think, today or yesterday they said that. So that's going to be intriguing. He has been the USF driver the past 3 years, so I look forward to seeing him in an Indy Next car. And then
do you want to
the rumor with Herta is he's going to F2. We haven't got a team locked up, obviously. And then some schedule rumors, too, where I want to go into a couple of them. There was a big rumor about Mexico City for a long time. For a long while, we heard, it's going to happen. Then we heard it's not going to happen. Then DHL said they want it to happen. Then they said it was going to happen. And now officially it isn't. Mexico will not be there next year due to, I want to say it was World Cup constraints is what they labeled it as. I think they just tried to put a deal together too quickly. You really can't just make that up on the fly, so that wasn't going to happen. Obviously, they had a room to work with NASCAR choosing to leave. And then another thing I've heard is DC was rumored to have a street race as early as next season. I do believe that's still up for grabs, maybe not next year, but for 27 they said they want to. Laguna Seca is locked as the title for 2 years. I did get told that by somebody. I won't give names, Tony. But so I got told that. And then Mexico says they do want to be there. They said the more likely one will be 27. That's not locked in yet, though. The big elephant in the room, though, is Iowa. They made a post saying, if I can pull it up.
Heck, Iowa this year was eventful. I mean, you had just getting into this year, and the crowd was underwhelming. So I understand why. If you're not making money on a race, why would you host it? You had a literal tornado
It
in
was
the
very
cornfield
underwhelming.
out of Iowa.
It was very, very underwhelming compared to the Hy-V races they had. Very underwhelming. So let me read the official statement that came from IndyCar at Iowa. We, with the 2026 NTT IndyCar Series schedule not confirmed without an Iowa Speedway date for next season, we want to thank loyal and passionate Iowa IndyCar fans that have made this event so special, and we appreciate the support and commitment to all our IndyCar race weekend at Iowa Speedway partners over the past 3 years. We are proud that the positive impact this event has made in the city of Newton, as well as the communities across the state. Thank you, Iowa. And then obviously you got people saying, "Oh, NASCAR ruined the track." I don't really want to point blames, but yeah, they did. The repaves in the middle of the corners did not help. So Iowa is gone. We lost a key oval, really good key oval, and been on the schedule since 2007. It's been there for a while. So it's tough to see Iowa go, but in turn we got a double header at Milwaukee and a Phoenix State. So we didn't lose any oval races, but we just unfortunately lost a track. The best scenario, I really wish we could have worked it out where we don't, as much as I love having a double header in Milwaukee, I feel like if you wanted to keep Iowa, make Milwaukee a longer race, and then make Iowa a longer race like it used to be.
Or just get rid of the double header, because I honestly feel like, Brandon, there may have been something to the fact that I was a double header, and that made it so, you just want to come to 1 or 2 days. And I think that might have driven down attendance.
Well, even so, the marketing for the race this year was non-existent when it had a Hy-V. Hy-V sold out, and they brought in seats for that race too. Because you also had expensive tickets with the concerts, the VIP suites, all that stuff. They even did the grass differently. They painted it blue last year for maybe the year before last, but they painted it blue. I was there for that. Good event. Great event. And this year is just like the racing wasn't any different. I enjoyed the racing. It was a little lackluster, but I mean, it's a short oval. What do you expect? It's a short oval with mid-banking. It's a bottom-friendly track. And you got Connor Daly who says the beg to differ, but hey, we're good. Yeah. But the repave kind of hurt it, and then, yeah. So with schedule out of the way,
You want to get into our season?
Let's take a look at our season. So we both ran the same amount of races, not ran, but went to.
We were at.
We're at, yeah. So we did the entire month of May, the Grand Prix, qualifying, the 500. We did Detroit and then
Mid-Ohio. And we were looking at going to Nashville. Unfortunately, just didn't pan out, but that would have been a really good, nice one to go to.
I had a couple opportunities that pop up, but just wasn't able to really schedule it in my favor. I wasn't able to get it locked in until 2 weeks before. So, unfortunately, they're not bringing it back as a championship race, but they are keeping the track. So, there's always next year. There's like 9 races I can realistically do if I wanted to.
Although, the one thing I do like about the new date, and I'll get into the new date real quick for Nashville, is you're marginalizing most of those spring events around the Midwest. And I think from a logistics standpoint, I think that's a really smart move, because then you're still kind of having your mid-season through the Midwest before you go out west. But I also wonder, August or September, late August in California, that might be a hot race.
I mean, the big thing with Laguna Seca is it's not in the valleys part of California like Thermal was. Thermal's gone, thank God. The racing wasn't good. The venue wasn't good. But I'm not going to say thank good riddance. I say thank God because I wasn't a fan of the racing. It's gone, and that's good, but the venue was cheap for the series to race at. That's the only reason I see it being a good race to stay at is it's a free venue, it's more racing. I think, and then you had the big controversy with Fox losing half the damn thing. So, but we're getting off topic there. So, kind of talk about how we got to go do the month of May, because that was kind of last minute too.
Yeah, the month of May was very last minute. Thankfully, I'm very thankful to the media teams over at IndyCar that were gracious enough to let us do our thing this year. And
Right.
I have a curse running when it comes to May, though. I have a car curse, and so we ended up. I had a rental car those weeks, but because everything likes to break right before the 500. But the Indy 500, I felt like was the weirdest. It didn't. I mean, at least then, it didn't feel like a 500. It was way too chaotic, and it felt like the chaos just kept popping up. And
Well, I'll get into it a little bit when we get to it, but the Grand Prix, we'll start with that. We get there. Shoot, I ride in with a friend, right? I ride
yeah,
in with a friend. It's Friday morning. For some reason, this event's 2 days. Trying to pack all that crap into 2 days was a pain in the ass, but we got it all in, thank God. But we roll in there. Had to be 7 o'clock in the morning, maybe earlier, because we got to pick our credentials up. Got to pick our
yeah.
credentials up. And then here I am walking down Holman Boulevard. He picks me up. I'm sick to my stomach because I had to run. But here's the weird thing. The weather was so weird. It was 60 degrees in the morning, and by midday it was 90. And you see this? See these scars? This tan line, keep in mind, it's September 16th. This line here is from the Sanzio Grand Prix where I wear my media lanyard. I still have it. That's how bad the
Oh,
sun was.
you got roasted like a tomato, dude. You were as
Yeah, it
red
was
as this
horrible.
end plate here, dude. It was
Oh, yeah.
brutal, and
It was bad. It was bad. Hell, you can look at my
that's
arms.
why
You
I
can see how
I always
bad
wear
the
a sun
summer
hat.
was. Summer got me good.
You
But
can't really see on me, but I have a line here. But even then, I think by the second half of the season, or second half of the month of May, I was wearing long sleeves every day,
well,
because
and
of
then
your burn.
so we had a lot of good things that happened. We got to stand in victory lane, or at least near it, for IndyCar. I was able to celebrate a podium with my good buddy G3 Argyros in one of the USF 2000 races. Got some pictures with him, picture of him holding the trophy, and did some. I don't know if I did. Did I do an interview for Sanzio? I don't remember if I did.
I don't think you did for
No, I did.
Sanzio.
I did. Because I talked to Nolan Siegel a little bit during Bump Day weekend. Or Carb Day, before they did the driver intro for the driver's meeting. We'll get into that in a sec. So, Sanzio went off without a hitch. Sunburn, battle scars, all that, all you can write home about. It was a great weekend. Enjoyed the hell out of it. A lot of good vantage points. Hung out with some good people.
If you
Met
can,
some good people.
if
Met
you
some
can,
good people. Made a lot of new friends too. We'll get into that a little bit here. And then we head
if
into
you
next week.
right,
Next week was
if you understand the photo hole locations, IMS is one of the best tracks in the world to
oh,
shoot. The angles are beautiful. The facility's beautiful. The people are pretty nice. Uh, it's just a great venue.
now, if you want to see some of the videos that I put out, go on Brandon Thunder Productions on YouTube. I go back to about May. I did everything from Indy to Detroit. I did all that stuff. And you can follow his Instagram. He's got all the photos from the weekends and all that. But going into Bump Day, I was only there for Bump Day because I had to do some sprint car stuff the 2 days before that. You were there for day
I
one and day two.
actually, I was there. So my schedule and routine, it's always something that never fails to like never sink in. And my schedule would be I go to University of Northwestern Ohio, and I'll be graduating in November, and I'm hopefully looking to get a job in motorsport I mean, I'd love to be an IndyCar mechanic and then have the other side of this podcast for next year be kind of told by a mechanic, or at least what I'm able to and at liberty to, with what the team tells me I can. But I actually would come down Thursday. And so I'd come down and get into the track at about 2 or 3 o'clock on Thursday.
Yeah, so you were
and
there
I'd be
Fast
there
Friday,
for a couple
too.
hours.
You were there
Yeah,
Fast
I was
Friday.
there Thursday. I would be there for practice, Fast Friday, qualifying both days. And I was actually speaking a lot about, and if you follow me and if you're one of my current followers, you know that I do a half-mile event in Indianapolis in Marion. And I had planned to do that, and then it didn't actually pan out that way. And I ended up doing some other things and staying at the Speedway. But I was there Fast Friday. I was there bump day and qualifying. And then I mean, we then rolled back into Indy. No, you didn't go with me. We reconvened in Indy, and we were there.
I didn't even think we were able to communicate really to each other during the qualifying weekend because I was with someone else, and then I had sprint car stuff. I had to shoot a lightning sprint race in Michigan on Friday. Then I was at Eldora on Saturday, day one of qualifying, and then Sunday, it was, dude.
Because you were what? Not Four Crown, but you were at Royal.
No, I was at one of the firework nights helping a buddy with a midget.
Okay.
So let me just kind of tell you how that weekend went, or at least the Saturday to Sunday portion of it. So Saturday, we get back from Eldora. Me and my roommates get back from Eldora at it had to be 1 in the morning. Indy practice on Sunday takes up at 10 o'clock. I had to get up. At the time, I lived in Lima, Ohio. That is a 3-hour drive to Indianapolis.
Okay, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about race day Sunday?
Day 2, bump day qualifying.
Okay, bump day.
So how to get from Lima to Indy, you can either take the route that goes through Fort Wayne down to through Muncie,
so you
go through Anderson,
so
or
you
take the easiest route, which is take 75 to Interstate 70 and just diagonal straight across the
state. So you either go the ways I typically go, and I've made this drive more times than I can count, is I'll cut over to Fort Wayne off of 30 and go down 469 to I-69 and then out to the loop of 465. Or you can go 70 down to Dayton, or 75 down to Dayton, take 70 out.
And you'll take it all the way to the outer
465 to MLK or to outskirts of 70.
And then you'll take the outer belt all the way to 16th Street. So
yeah.
And then 16th will route you over through. You can tell we've been there a million times. We know the back of the road. We live 300 miles away. We know how to get there by walking distance, dude. So we leave, had to have been 6:30 in the morning to get there by 10 o'clock. I have a silver badge because I'm media. My friend's got a bronze badge because he bought it. And we get in there, no issue. And fucking shit. As soon as we sit down, McLaughlin tries to backflip out of turn 2. And then I'm like, well, we sat down for a 35-minute red flag. I'm glad he was all right. But we ended up going through the garage. I actually got to talk with Abel for about 10 minutes. Really kind of talked about it. He just told me, he was like, well, the cars are slow, but it's really between me and Renus. And that's how it ended up becoming at the end of the day. So qualifying is one of those things where I just like to watch it. I don't really like to go work. And not even so much as a fan. Qualifying is just so much of an experience that you just got to be there to really know what I'm talking about. It's the only event like that where qualifying really can give you the same amount of excitement as the race can. So we're sitting up in the top of turn 1 up on the tower stuff where the spotters normally are. Or all the ticket reserves that have been dating back to the 60s and shit. So me and my buddy Jacob are there, and Robert Schwartzman goes out for the Fast 12 run, lays down a flyer, and then I'm thinking, in my head, I'm like, there ain't no way. There ain't no way he put this thing on pole. And then there's this older guy in front of me. He had to be 70-something years old. He's like, I don't know, man. I've seen some wild stuff here. I've been coming here for 50 years. I'm like, he's going to win the pole, isn't he? I look over at Jacob, and he's like, maybe. And in between the Fast 12 and the Fast 6, they do bump day. Obviously, Abel got bumped from the field, unfortunately. Great-looking paint scheme. The Miller Lite throwback to Danny Sullivan's spin and win in 1985.
Which did match this year's silver pin.
Yeah. I don't have it with me. I might actually. Yeah, I do.
I know I've got my credential over on the wall somewhere.
Oh, I have it. The badges are right here. So what we started doing this year is collector pins. We really got into them. These are all of them from this year. We got the silver badge, the Grand Prix, the GP, the 2 media bins we got. That's just a random one. I got the 500, and then Mid-Ohio. So this is the silver badge they gave us. It has, obviously, it has Danny Sullivan on there. But, and then the experience during the Fast 6 run, I can say I have never seen that happen. Maybe when Fernando got bumped, it was the same way, but seeing Robert Schwartzman win the pole and the fucking fan reaction to that was like you'd seen, I don't even know how to describe it, like it literally felt like the win of a 500. That's how much the reaction felt like.
Well, I mean, it meant that much.
You were on pit road. We'll get into yours here in a second, but like I was just up there on the top of turn 1 thinking I had just watched the greatest thing that's ever happened happen. That's how it felt. And when I walked out of the track and we were driving home, it took 3.5 hours to get home. The whole time I was just like, did that just happen? It was just, he couldn't believe that it happened. Prema leading up to that race had done nothing, and they come out and win the pole for the 500. It was just like astonishing. They weren't even good during practice. They missed day 1 of practice because that's how ill prepared they were. And they pull this out of their ass. It was just like astonishing. And you were on pit road. Kind of go into that a little bit.
So I was down on pit road. Because I was photography media, and so for the article I was writing at the time, I was able to go out there, and they corralled us. So like when you're doing the Fast 6, because you're running back through the pit lane, you're not allowed to be there. But you're not allowed to be like on the over the wall on the asphalt of pit road. Although for the previous day and earlier in the morning we were. But I'm down there because I wanted to see if I can get some pictures, some reactions. And watching the Prema guys go through the absolute roller coaster. And the year before, I was actually at McLaughlin's pit for the year before. So I was Newgarden's. So I was almost in the catbird seat for that one as well. But watching the Prema mechanics absolutely go through the biggest emotional roller coaster of their life, and I felt for them too because
I am still here. By the way, I'm actually plugging in the phone in because we still have something to talk about. We still got 3 races to talk about. So,
and I remember thinking, this hasn't happened before. There's no way this is happening. And I'm looking at, I talked to another guy I know who was on the Rosenquist car, the Creed car.
Yeah.
That was a cool livery. I'll get to that later. But just to see them go from a state of like, we've had the worst start to a season we possibly could to, oh my word, we just put it on pole for the Indy 500 was priceless. And I actually got to see somebody who I hadn't seen more than for 30 seconds the entire year, and to be down there and see him celebrate. And I got some beautiful shots that I sent to him of him down there as well. I can't give a big enough of a round of applause to that Prema team for what they did for that 500. But not too long after that, I also hit the road, and because I still am living in Lima. Um, and then we turned about for the 500 itself. So
Yeah.
I
Let's get
came
into
down on
this
Thursday.
because this was.
Yeah.
I will give it
So
this. Friday and Saturday felt like normal Indy 500
yeah,
tradition, Carb Day and Bump and Legends Day. So I
yeah.
get into there around shit. It had to have been 3 o'clock in the morning, and I have to be at the media center by 6 for the photo meeting. So I just stayed up all night. I figured, shit, what's the worst that could happen?
And
Man,
that's what for
by the end of Carb Day, I shit you not, I was ready to die. That's how exhausted I was.
yeah, we went out and then we came back and we did carb day. And then I took you back and carb day is what? No, it's carb day then Legends Day. And I'm glad they do Legends Day how they do. So I went out for Legends Day. You were with me, right?
Yeah, because we went to the museum and checked
So
out
I
the
ended up
new
seeing
museum,
the
which,
new
by the
museum,
way,
and
yeah, because we
if you
went and checked.
haven't gone to the new IMS
Yeah,
museum, you need to go to the IMS museum.
yeah, because you went there later in the year for the Ferrari Challenge weekend. I went there during uh, Legends Day, which I recommend you go on an off weekend because if you try to get in there during like a race weekend, especially for NASCAR or IndyCar, you're not going to be able to see or enjoy anything.
Oh no,
But
it's too
it
many
still
people.
was amazing.
And
I
by the
still
way, I
recommend going.
see, I don't know if he's still watching, Dominic Pila,
Yeah.
the randomist photography. Uh, Dude, if you want to go there and you are a student, they have a student price. And I think that
Yep.
student price is like $5. Like, it's a ridiculous student discount to go to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway
Oh
Museum.
yeah. But to get on to Carb Day, we roll in there probably 7:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. Had to have been. It was real early. It was dark when we got there. I know that for sure. I might be thinking of the 500. Yeah, because we
No,
got
you're
there like
thinking 500.
had to have been like 8
We
because
got there like
practice didn't start till
7,
10.
7 or 8. Yeah.
Yeah, because we got there, they gave us breakfast, and then just kind of chilled out for a little bit, and then they roll out with it was a 3-hour practice session. Nothing really major happened in it. Obviously, you had the fire with Ryan Hunter-Reay, but fortunately, there wasn't any incidents or wrecks. Um, and then after Carb Day, we had
I mean, really, most of
the
your
weenie
incidents were,
five. We had the weenie
oh,
500. Oh
what
boy,
a,
the weenie
yeah,
five.
that was something. But
I really hope
I
they
want to
do it
actually
again.
circle back real quick, Brandon. I want to circle back to qualifying, main qualifying day. Um, Shankenstein. So
Oh yeah,
Meyer Shank Racing.
That freak of nature.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was half carbon fiber, half road course wrap, and half Indy 500 wrap.
What was it? Marcus Armstrong
Yeah, it was
wrecked it
Armstrong.
in early practice on was it Sunday or Saturday?
Saturday, and then he wads the car up on Saturday. The Meyer Shank mechanics are in there thrashing, and then I didn't think he was going to get back out. And here they come pushing Shankenstein into Gasoline Alley. This wild, multicolored
Yeah, it's got
thing.
some of Castronevis's green parts on there. I shit United had a Creed side pod on the damn thing.
I don't think it
They
was that bad.
take
No, it was the root scheme. It was the root scheme.
yeah.
It was the blue for the 500. It was the root tub, I want to say. So it had the orange on the tub. It had a blue nose. The side pod was actually half exposed carbon.
Yeah, it was.
Um, and the story I had heard is if they would have made the field, they were going to take their qualifying pictures with the unwrapped car. But I got in there early on Sunday and they'd rewrapped it, unfortunately. But that was really cool. And then you look at Colton Herta, flips it, comes
Oh yeah,
back,
big.
puts it in the field. Everybody who tore a car up that day did. McLaughlin tore it up and put it back in the field.
No, actually, I'm gonna be real with you. McLaughlin, once he wrecked it on bump day, he had the Monday and then obviously he gets to run carb day, and then he gets to run that, and then after that, hey, Jacob in it. See, this is the guy that I was with Indy with on bump day. So he really didn't get a lot of running after that
He
wreck.
didn't, but he did make the field. And
he was locked in either way because he made the fast 12. Because he was practicing for the pole run. Because he had already locked it into the fast 12. I'm going to tell you this right now. If he wouldn't have wrecked out and the Penske cars wouldn't have had their qualifying fiasco, we still haven't talked about this yet.
Oh, attenuator gate.
We would have had a Penske front row for sure. Their Fast Friday times, their Saturday times were amazing. I don't want to call Robert Schwartzman's pole a fluke, but if you look at it honestly, it kind of was because of all the shit that went down with Penske. So
I'm still here. Yeah, I agree full-heartedly. And I'd actually talked to those guys, and I'm not going to name sources.
Hell, on race day for the 500, we talked to, I don't know who it was, but it was somebody who worked with Will Power. We were in the tech line with him, just shooting the shit with him for had to be 35, 40 minutes.
And it's the same attenuator. And if you could go, I think you still can. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't want to go into
gone to the
conspiracies
museum
or nothing, but I don't think it was warranted. I don't want to think it was enough to warrant the penalty they had. I mean, you shouldn't be fucking with parts to begin with, but I mean, I don't really think it was warranted that level. But that's besides the point. We're not here to debate what Father Penske wants to do with his rules. But so let me go to carb day. We had the pit stop competition, obviously Newgarden back to back. And
Newgarden back to back. I got to ask a couple of questions in that interview afterwards.
Yeah, because you were in the press conference. I went over and I went to the snake pit to enjoy some Brett Michaels for a little bit. And I couldn't get in there because I shit you not, it was like Woodstock. There were so many drunk druggies over there, it was not even funny. But I walked back after that and just kind of sat in the media center. And I went back up to the top room of the media center and then kind of listened into the press conference. And he was shooting the shit with his pit crew. But it was funny. Didn't they actually have Newgarden on the mic?
Yes, Newgarden asked a question about the group chat. And I had a good laugh about that very quietly.
Right.
And I soon then asked my questions. But if we want to get into that, we can. But
not important, but we know even with the penalty drama, he was still having fun, just enjoying himself. So then we go into Legends Day. Nothing really to get on about there.
Legends Day is purely just like a fan day.
We went into the museum. I did, at least. You went in there for a little bit. You checked out the gift shop. Even still in the gift shop, it was still a cool experience to go check out. Yeah.
And then I ended up reconvening with some connections in motorsport, and then we went our ways.
My big thing was I went in and I was talking to some people in the garage. I got to sit down with Stingray Rob for about 15 minutes and talk to him about some things, and he said he just felt confident in the car. Obviously, on Legends Day before the big drivers meeting, I think this might have been Legends Day, yeah, I got to actually interview Nolan Siegel in the media center when we were waiting for driver intros before they was like, hey, the one lady answered for me. They're like, they don't want to talk. Really, in their head, they got to be prepped to go out for the drivers meeting and all that. But Nolan and me kind of go back a little bit. I've known Nolan about 10 years, so it was cool to reconnect with him for a little bit and just kind of talk with him about stuff. I was really, because if you guys know who I am, I'm a big advocate for the USF Pro Championship Series, whether it be the juniors, the 2000, the Pro 2000. So Nolan, at the time, I was doing an article about USF stuff, and I ran a series on IndyCar Central called the USF Winners Weekend, and I was talking to him about that. And I was just really kind of diving into his opinion with the USF Pro Championship Series. At one point, it was called the Road to Indy when he was in it. And he drove for D-Force Racing for a number of years. And I was kind of talking to him about his experiences in the series, and he just really enjoyed the series. He said it's a great talent startup. It really doesn't need a huge amount of funding. Obviously, every racing series, you need to bring your own funding. But USF is a series that's willing to help you achieve your success as well. Like, if you're a talented driver, you're going to be rewarded with your talent. It's not one of those things where you're going to be shafted because someone else would bring her money. Bigger money brings out. Obviously, in IndyCar, that's kind of the case, but you will see if you look at the IndyCar young stars, a lot of them came from USF. A lot of them came from Indy Next. A lot of them came from Skip Barber. So that's kind of what I was talking to him about. But that's really kind of how Friday and Saturday went. And then obviously we got out of there probably 4 o'clock, went and got good food in Indy. If you're ever in Indy, I recommend Dave's Hot Chicken. That's personally my thing. There's this place over in the top side. Where was it? Nobleville? Where
it's Hamilton Town Center. It's the greater Hamilton Town Center area, so it's actually considered Geist. But there's a place called Murphy's Pub House.
Yeah.
It's owned. If you're into cars, the owner is a car enthusiast. His name is Ryan Stonebreaker, and but they have the best fish and chips, and it's a stomping grounds for me. Like every time I'm in Indy, I will drop in there, get some fish and chips, and some Cajun fries.
A pre-night tradition for me that I like to do every year that I'm at the 500 is I get Long John Silver's. For some reason, that's what started back in 2009. I got that on Saturday night. DoorDashed it to the Airbnb I was staying at. And, yeah, it was really good. And then we get to Sunday, the 109th running of the Indy 500. We have to be there. Ass cracking.
I'll get into
not
this.
Even dawn. So, we were there before the sun rose.
I was up I went to bed at probably 5 o'clock.
I don't know how we slept.
Because
we were so
you
excited.
have to get up. Because I had to be up at 3:30 to be at his place. I think I got up at 3:15. Because I had to be at the track by 4:30 in the morning. Which they actually don't shut down Georgetown Road until 4 o'clock or 4:30 in the morning. So we're in there at 4:30 in the morning, and they will sweep the facilities. So they've still got the sniffer dog in the media center when we're walking into this place.
Yeah, because when we got in there, I think it was like 4:30. Talked to a lot of people that I respect in the YouTube media scene, like Mighty Mac. He's big in the drag racing community. Obviously, David Land carries our series on a torch when it comes to IndyCar content on YouTube and all that. Got to talk to some really cool people. And then we met some guy I linked up with who I've gotten Jonah to be good friends with. His name is James Coker. A lot of you guys will know him as the guy who makes the parody account videos for F1 and WTF1. I have since become good friends with him. He did the predictions video with me. I linked up with him. It had to have been 10 times during that day. Fucking hell, we walked into him. It had to have been 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning in the media center. But and he's over here wearing a white jacket, and he's all perked up, ready to go. This is his first 500. So he didn't really know how to think about it. So he enjoyed it. And then
the 500, just like in the namesake, that event for a media person is a marathon, not a sprint.
Right. And then 6 o'clock rolls around. We're allowed to go walk through the garage, finally. As I'm walking through the garage, walking down Pitt Road, when they start playing Ecstasy of Gold and then they shoot the fireworks off, it's just like...
Oh, that is always last 2 years, that has been my favorite experience. Being in pit lane when they play Ecstasy of the Gold. And I remember we actually reconvened. We were sitting on the balcony outside of the media center as they're doing this, and you can see the fires be shot off. The year before, my first year, before we were together for this, I was in the pit lane when it happened. And they do it every year, and it is just the most religious experience you can have in the IndyCar paddock.
It gives you a certain vibe. It honestly feels like you're getting ready to go to war. That's how I feel like it makes you feel. And walking in the pits and the garage as the sun is starting to rise, and then the media people start showing up, the big media people. I'm talking Fox News is there. You have ESPN people there. Tom Brady was there with Fox. And obviously this was Fox's first year covering the sport. I'll say, just to round it up because we don't have a lot of time left, I will just say they did a good job, did a damn good job this year. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. And
And
then
then,
we moved on. You and I moved on the next round after a very chaotic Indy 500, which I
yeah,
ended up shooting off
we're
of
gonna do a
turn.
separate episode talking about probably the 500 as itself. All I'll say is, it just, at the moment, it didn't feel like an actual 500. It was 55
No,
degrees
it didn't.
or a hoodie the whole damn race.
And I ended up going from turn 3 to
Every
turn
year, I
2.
stood, I stood to the left of the pagoda on pit road right above Gasoline Alley. That's where I was. And every single year, I shit you not, I get grade 3 sunburn. I was freezing the whole damn day.
And then you had rain, and you had McLaughlin's wreck, and you had the other dramas with the fire and the
And
pit
then,
crew getting hit. Thankfully, they're all okay. But
and then we leave Indy and go to Detroit. At the 500, we weren't even going Detroit. Me and you were like, no, it's too much to go from this to this.
No.
Wednesday rolls around, and then I learn you don't need to be media credentialed to go to Detroit. They have free viewing areas and all that. And then you obviously were credentialed, and we didn't learn this till, what, was it Thursday? The day before we left?
Oh, I didn't find out I was credentialed for Detroit till I think like an hour before the media meeting. And
Right.
and it was I had registered my interest early, and I'm not going to pin blame to anybody, but it was real last minute, and we went, and we ended up it was the first and only race where we actually commuted back and forth the 2 hours to Detroit. I would not recommend doing that because that is a like 4 hour
Yeah, we
round trip per
debated
day.
about doing it to Mid-Ohio. We chose against it. Good thing we did. We were still beat the hell and back, even with the
Well,
20
the
minute
thing is,
delay of
Mid-Ohio. We'll get into Mid-Ohio here in a minute, but Detroit,
Yeah.
I found to be if you're a photographer and you just want to practice pan shots, go up like pay for the pass and go up in like the high-rise parking garages and go to
Even
like
the
level
free
4 or
park,
5.
there was a free parking lot too. The parking garage that has the Corvette corral is free to the spectators. Obviously, there's floors where you can't go up. Obviously, the Corvette hospitality you're not allowed to step foot on, and then there's the other one, the next one of it. I don't remember the names, but they're both connected to the Rensen on the
I know
side
we were in the
facing pit road.
Bobian.
Yeah, they were the parking garages that are directly in front of pit entry at Detroit. So they
Yeah,
will be on
it's
pit
the
entry. Those
Bobian
two
and
blocks.
then the Rensen and the Bobian.
Yeah, and then
No, Edgewater.
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 Yeah, yep. And then
Edgewater and Bobian.
I will say I didn't enjoy standing a lot, but that's just me. I enjoyed
Well, I
everything
think the
about that
overall
event.
experience is really nice.
The racing
Especially if
itself
you have
isn't
Bobian or
amazing.
Edgewater parking.
Right. The racing itself isn't amazing, but the fan experience there is none like anything else, I feel like. St. Pete, you're pretty much confined to seating. Toronto has its experience. Long Beach, it's really, if you aren't a VIP in a high-rise building, you can't really get views from up high. Detroit, it's like, it just feels like
It's a concrete
it's like
jungle.
open to the public kind of thing. It feels like it's a unique thing of its own, and it's right by Lake Detroit, the River Detroit, where Windsor, Canada is, and all that. And I was sitting probably in turn 12 the whole time, over by the pit entry the whole weekend I had the event. I didn't really further anywhere from it. One, I didn't have the parking garage passes, and I didn't have a media credential for this weekend, so I just kind of vibed. And me, with my phone photography taking self-ass, got some pretty decent photos from those parking garages because the shooting areas are just great there. If you're a photographer or media or anything, that is probably one of the best tracks to shoot at, just because it's always a
hands
lot of
down.
good speaking areas, and it's just like, yeah. But we drove back and forth each day. IMSA was there. This is an IndyCar show. We're not going to go into IMSA all that much, but it was a good. I enjoyed IMSA being there. I wish they do more stuff like that. Obviously, they do at Long Beach, but it was really cool seeing IMSA. there, especially seeing the Valkyrie rip through the streets, and the Cadillacs too were
Oh, the
rumbling through.
sound of that thing, Rip.
But,
The sound of if you get a chance next year, if they're still running the Valkyrie, go to Detroit, stand in the Bobbian parking garage, and just listen. Because
even
it is
the
the most
Huracan that
insane stuff.
Faf was running was ripping around there too. But going on to the winners that weekend, obviously you had, was it Hauger? Did Hauger win? Hauger won Indy Next, and then Kirkwood won IndyCar.
Kirkwood, Ferrucci, and then I forget who was third.
Yeah, and then
it
was just a really enjoyable weekend. Obviously, me and you were really good friends with an Indy Next driver named Nolan Aller, I think it's properly pronounced, but he told us to go check out this hot dog place that he was sponsored by called National Coney Island in Detroit. That had to have been the best hot dog I've eaten in my life.
Oh, absolutely. But we ended up wrapping up there, and then we then moved on and went back to Ohio, and then I went off on my own adventure to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I was at National Viper Event 6, and I did some shooting at Pittsburgh International Race Complex, which is a beautiful facility, I think, owned by Jim and Kathy Stout. And then that weekend, on Saturday, Sunday, or I think just maybe it was Saturday. No, Saturday and Sunday, I went out to Indianapolis again for Ferrari Challenge. And then we reconvened.
And that's when you got to check out the museum for the first time.
Yeah, that was when I went to the museum because it was a lot less crowded. Right. And then Brandon and I reconvened for my birthday weekend, the Independence, what they call the Independence weekend at Mid-Ohio.
I have a sticker somewhere. I think it's on one of my totes. I have a sticker of it. But
I know I have it over here. I'll actually go grab it, and although my camera is off, I will show the camera. It's available from at least Gutswear had it.
Mid-Ohio was something I really wanted to do because Mid-Ohio has always been my home race ever since I've lived in Ohio and Columbus.
So that is the Independence sticker that's available from Gutswear.
And then I didn't learn that I was credentialed for Mid-Ohio until probably the week of. You were having trouble left and right.
I didn't know until after the media meeting was over.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was. Thank God for Artie Kempner. He kind of helped us get that situated out. But that's besides the point. Getting there started out the way they had it laid out. You weren't able to pick your credential up until really after USF practice had started. And me being there really only for USF. Obviously, I was going to stick for Indy Next and IndyCar. But I was there for exclusively USF. That's what my goal was, to be there. I wanted to do some stuff. And I pretty props to G3 Argyros, Caleb Gufera, and all of Pabst Racing for allowing me to really kind of communicate with everybody on their team. Caleb's parents actually were really nice and kind of keeping me hydrated. It was a hot weekend. It was a really hot weekend. They got
it was brutal.
But we get there on Friday, and you had never been to Mid-Ohio. I had been there probably 20 or 30 times. So I took you to all these fun little spots, and you're like, man, it's hot. And I'm like, dude, it's worth it. Once we get up to the top of the keyhole, man, that keyhole climb kicks your ass.
I think we ended up we were climbing, and another media guy stops. He goes, you want to ride? He's on a golf cart with a bag rack on the back. And so I'm like, where am I going to go? And I'm not stupid heavy, but I'm kind of chunky. I'm in the low 200s.
Right.
I'm like, so I end up climbing on the back of this bag rack, right? So I'm on the back of the bag rack, and then I end up holding onto this bag rack as we go up the hill. Unfortunately, we did have to walk back down it on our own, but we shot the keyhole, and then I want to say we went back to the
Well, we had to walk up. He drove us back to the paddock.
No, who was that? It was somebody with a team that drove us back.
He was with, I don't know who he was with. I can't remember for the life of me. I won't remember. But Friday, Friday was mainly just kind of finding spots, getting stuff situated out. I linked up with all my contacts, talked to some drivers. Obviously, I connected with G3 Argyros. I actually tried to get an interview with Oliver Weldon, but his PR team kind of shut me down on that a little bit. But and then obviously I reconnected with Miles Rowe. Miles actually and me are on to the point where he recognized me by face, and I walked up to him. He's like, "Hey, Brandon, how are you?" And I talked to him a little bit. He really connected with it. Obviously, Nolan Eller, we're good buddies with him. Got big thanks to him and HMD Hospitality. They allowed us to actually get lunch on both those days. They didn't have to do that, but a lot of good people over on that side allowed that to happen. But got that taken care of. Then Saturday rolls around. It's practice qualifying day. That's when we go into the media center and all that. Then we start connecting with some other photography buddies that we know. And then one of our spots we found was if you go to the top of the S's where it hits the highest point, I want to say it's turn 5, 6, 7, and 8, that little canoe strum. We get down there and then walking back up that hill over where the scoring pylon was man, we got a good workout that weekend. Had to have lost a lot of weight from sweat and all that, but
I do want to say though, if you're looking to photograph, if you need photos for an article, go to turn 9. You are 5 feet off the apex at the slowest corner of the track. Beautiful pan shots.
Turn 9 was good. We actually got to be on pit road for USF, the last USF race. I want to say it was either on Friday or Saturday. We're not going to name who we were with, but let's just say it was a key figure in the USF championship ladder. So they allowed us to be on pit road, and we got to basically get a first-hand experience on how the media team runs in USF. Very, very relaxed when it comes to things, but they're very serious on when they need shit to be done. So a good buddy of ours, Ayrton Hauk, got involved on a start crash, unfortunately. He was with Benchmark Autosport. I have since learned that they are continuing that team, and I think Ayrton's going a different route. Nothing set in stone. Obviously, me and Jonah know some rumors, but we're not going to go into that right now. But we got to see that take place. And
but the one thing that has been that we do know is Benchmark was offering Ayrton old seat for a test at the Griffiths test at the end of the year.
Right.
So presumably he is no longer going to be.
Not getting too deep into that, but huge thanks to everyone at Mid-Ohio for letting us get a first-hand experience on pit road for the USF race. I was able to get some really good videos if you want to check out on Brandon Thunder Productions. I released those back in the first part of July. And leading into Sunday, race day. We get there. I frantically had to run to the USF pit because my main goal for the thing I was writing was I wanted to get interviews done. Wasn't able to work out anything with G3 Argyros to get a sit-down or like a stand-up interview with him. He had a lot of issues that weekend, so I was able to get some comments from him, though. Huge shout-out to him. And then Caleb Jafera actually was able to a couple-minute interview about really the weekend as a whole. Actually got his first career victory on Friday, one of the USF 2000 races. I was able to sit down with Michael Costello, another Paps driver. The Paps guys are really good folks. I really respect everyone over there. I respect everybody, obviously, but the Paps guys are just really down-to-earth people. I really recommend if you're ever in the paddock, just at least go say hi to them. Go shake their hands, just say good luck or something. They really appreciate the fans in the sport. But Sunday rolls around, Indy next. Wow. I was in turn 4 for the start. And then I go to the kink on the backstretch to film some flyby shots, and here comes Ricardo Escato and Sebastian Murray, the two Cape with Andretti cars, collide in the kink, and they have a frightening crash. Murray cartwheels out of the kink, actually had the top of his nose cone clip the flag stand on the temporary finish line in the backstretch. Sent some carbon fiber, some rocks over the catch fence, actually whacked me in the side of the face. I had to go to the medical center and get checked out to see if I was all right. Fortunately, I was. Murray was not cleared to race the next week, but he did finish up the year, and I do believe Escoto got let go, unfortunately. I don't know the complete terms of that whole deal, but that was what happened. And then leading on to it, obviously you have domination from, was it Hauger again?
I want to say it was Hauger.
I want to say it was Hauger ended up winning it, but just a class race from there. The big rumor was we weren't going to be able to get the next race in because of the time constraints, but and then obviously, since what our main assignments was the junior series, we just kind of chilled out for IndyCar, at least for the first half of it. We sat in the media center and watched the race take place. Really good race happened. Then you had the lap one incident with Ray Hall and Newgarden. And then you get into the race itself. We moved to turn 9 with, I want to say it was 30 to go. And we're just getting pictures. And then I go to the top of turn 5 to record the end of the race. And as soon as I get up there, Dixon's got the lead. And I'm like, what the hell happened? And here you are sitting in turn 9. You probably got a hell of a view of this. Palou drops his wheel off and relinquishes the lead to Dixon. And Dixon ended up going on to win that race. And, of course, killing my predictions list in the process. But
Brandon's predictions list.
yeah, it felt like it was a good weekend. I enjoyed every bit of it. It's Mid-Ohio. I'm real glad.
It was a great weekend except for the brutal
the climbing and the heat was not desirable, but I mean, you're going to have that at racetracks like that. If you ever go to Laguna Seca, you're going to hate yourself. Or a Road America. Because you've been to Road America as a worker on pit road, but if you do it as
working with ACP Tangerine. Yeah. Now, when I was at Road America at the beginning of the year, though, I don't think it ever got above 65 degrees. I want to say it was in the it was in the mid 40s.
Oh, I'm not talking about
when
heat.
I was in the fire, it was nice.
Climbing wise, the elevation change of that track is, oh my goodness. But
under the Corvette Bridge, they don't portray it well in video games. That is a steep climb.
Right. Going off of that, this was, I would say, a really good year. You can make complaints all you want about how one guy dominated Indy Next, one guy dominated IndyCar. And just real quick before we wrap things up, I do want to give a quick shout-out to Max Garcia winning the USF Pro 2000 Championship, Jack Jeffers winning the USF 2000 Championship, and Leonardo Scorpini winning the USF Juniors Championship. Wanted to shout out my boys in the USF series there real quick. Shameless plug, I know. But you had Hauger dominate Indy Next. You had Palou put on probably the best season of the IRL era in IndyCar. But I went away from this year saying this was probably one of those storybook seasons. You had a new chapter with Fox. Me and you were there for a good majority of it, at least the important things. And a lot of promise heading into the next years. Just a lot of new things to look forward to, a lot of new faces, a lot of faces leaving, a lot of changing roles, and it's just a lot to be excited
there's
for.
Nothing set in stone rolling into 25, and for all I know, you might see me wearing blue at Chip Ganassi next year. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. Obviously, we don't have any plans set in stone. I'd like to continue doing some off-stuff media. I've got some connections to where if I want to go do some things, I could. But I also kind of want to take it easy for a few years, build up some money, just go chase the sport. I'm probably going to do a couple just because I want to do some here and there. I don't think I'm in the position to go chase the full-time season yet. I would love to. I've done it before. But right now I'm not in a good place to it. But without further ado, we have been going at this for 3 hours now. See, this is why I like having a co-host. This is why I like having a co-host, because it's not me trying to come up with crap. Stuff works. So without further ado, my name is Brandon Rutter. If you want to follow for more IndyCar news content, obviously Indy _ Central is where you'll find that. Follow me on Instagram at Brandon Thunder, the stream you're watching right now. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Brandon Thunder Productions. And then, obviously, Jonah is here right now. Jonah, kind of shout yourself out a little bit, because this
So
probably
Jonah
won't be the
Werbelow,
last stream we do. I want to do a couple more of
yeah,
these. Obviously. So,
yeah. So Jonah Werbelow, Jonah W Photography on Facebook, Jonah_W_photography on Instagram, JonahWphotography.com. I've got some of my best works from the IndyCar season, including a couple of cool shots of Paul Miller BMWs and the Valkyrie from when we had that crossover event at Detroit. But I want to thank you if you made it this far into our ramblings here
we do
for our
have
podcast.
2 watchers, meaning one of them's you, and there is someone here
It
checking
is
us
Jacob
out.
Peeps.
Oh, Jacob's still here. Hell yeah. So, well, without further ado, it is 11:44 on the East Coast. So, for all my West Coast viewers, you guys have it easy. But without further ado, not further ado, thank you
Wherever
guys
you
for
are,
tuning
good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Thank you guys for tuning into this long marathon of a stream, and I hope to see you guys next time, where this might be a little more organized, but I think this went well for a first show. So, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.
I'll catch you tomorrow.